This lesson is titled A Hero's Journey, and it was put together in conjunction with an 8th grade ELA teacher with whom I work. The lesson took 2 weeks, which is about 10 school days, and each class period is about 45 minutes per day. In this lesson, students will begin to understand what the classic definition of a hero is and how it applies to fiction and nonfiction. They created a podcast to explain their thought process throughout the entire lesson, and the podcasts were posted on the class blog along with their independent reading journals. This lesson covers standards from the ELA portion of the Georgia Standards of Excellence and the Social Studies standards. It also covers the listed ISTE standards for students. Students will learn the characteristics of the hero throughout the lesson. They'll unpack and annotate text to learn the stages of a hero's journey. They'll connect a film structure to the plot of a hero's journey, and they'll choose an independent reading that complements what they're learning in class. Through their independent reading, they'll use a graphic organizer to note the stages of the journey. There were 3 essential questions asked of students throughout this lesson. What defines a hero? How does the hero's journey archetype appear in stories throughout time? And how has your understanding of the hero's journey changed over the course of this unit? Throughout the unit, students are expected to know the basic definition of a hero and how that applies to people that they read about, hear about, or interact with. Students will be assessed as they document their learning throughout this unit. Their products will be assessed on grammar and mechanics more than the content, since that will be their thought process. Throughout the unit, students will be formatively assessed through video reflections and rubrics. Those 3 rubrics are listed on the screen. There's one for blogging, for the podcast, and for a video reflection. The technology resources used will support the student learning by being complementary and sites that the students are comfortable with. These products will have been introduced to students previously and used in class already. Students will use Flipgrid, Office Mix, which is a PowerPoint add-in for screencasting and podcasting, the teacher's blog through EduBlogs, and the blogging feature on Schoology. At the beginning of the lesson, students will receive the layout of the hero's journey archetype and then watch Big Hero 6 to apply their newly gained knowledge of what a hero is and how, or even which character, exemplifies those traits. For students who might have any difficulties applying their knowledge, they'll receive scaffolding in the form of a close read type of worksheet. At the beginning of the year, students in this class created norms for different activities, including computer usage. Since they took ownership in the creation of the rules, they have been less likely to break them. This classroom is a bring your own device setup, but not every student has a device to use. The Media Center has a laptop cart that can be checked out and was used throughout the lesson. Students will work individually in the classroom. Some time will be spent in the library for independent reading. Because all students do not have access to technology at home, they will not be assigned homework. All assignments will be completed in class. Issues that could arise during the lesson where the internet is used could be connection issues to the school's network, sites going down, and students not able to log in. Network issues can be troubleshot with the help of any of the school's technology specialists. If students are not able to log in or a site goes down, alternative sites will be given. Students will also be given a place to keep login information safe and secure in case of forgotten passwords. In any instance, or if it's needed, the media specialist can also reset a password. Students will use all of the following strategies throughout the lesson: metacognitive markers, close reading, graphic organizers, note-taking, collaborative discussion, annotating the text, rereading, summarizing, predicting, free write, and when they analyze poetry, they'll use a strategy called TPCast. The room setup allows for both group and individual work, with plenty of space to spread out if needed. Students will really be the architects of their own learning for this process, with the teacher taking a facilitator type of role. The content of the lesson will demand that the students analyze what they are learning and evaluate how they are learning it. The technology allows the students to express their thoughts and learning in a way they feel comfortable with. For this lesson, students will begin by learning about the hero's journey. For an opportunity to apply their newly developed knowledge, they will watch Big Hero 6. Before previewing the film, students will create a blog post explaining who they think to be the classic hero. After previewing, they'll create another blog post to reflect on their initial thoughts and to expand on them. For each blog post they make, they'll be required to comment on at least 2 of their classmates' posts. As a class, we'll read several short stories, poems, and news articles about classic and non-classic heroes. After each reading, they'll contribute a blog post. As the unit comes to a close, they'll create a podcast as an amalgam of their posts. The podcasts will be posted to their teacher's blog. The final assignment will have the students create a video using Flipgrid. This video will ask the students to compare the definition of a hero with two characters they've been exposed to. While students will be encouraged to use certain sites to complete their activities, they will be given the freedom to choose something that they are more comfortable with. Since this is a co-taught classroom, students who need additional help will have the opportunity to work one-on-one with the co-teacher. We will also be using Microsoft Translator for students who are learning English as their second language, or even who have difficulty keeping up as the teacher reads or uses presentation material. Some students will also be given the opportunity to create a computer game or app that centers on the hero's journey, as this school has several coding programs that the students can use. Following the unit, students will Skype with the hero of their choosing. Before the Skype session, students chose and voted on the type of person that they wanted to call, allowing the teacher an opportunity to make contact with someone who fits that definition. They came up with the categories, and like the teacher assumed, they were military members, first responders, and that sort of thing. As part of their last assignment, students will create one final Flipgrid video where they'll talk to the teacher and be asked to reflect on the assignment. Once they've finished, the teacher will view the responses and make the changes he or she sees fit based on the students' responses. This lesson would not have gone well without the proper rules, guidelines, and classroom management established in this room. It is evident that the teacher and students see the use of the technology as integral to the class and not just something that was done to check a box. Any teacher who were to implement this lesson or one similar should have norms firmly established prior to beginning.